Have you ever heard of a man who built one of the largest black-led movements in history, commanding millions of followers across the globe? A man who launched his own international shipping line, owned newspapers, and established businesses to empower his people. His name was Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and his story is one of ambition, controversy, and a vision that continues to echo through time. Today, we're diving deep into the untold story of this Jamaican-born leader, a figure often simplified or misunderstood in the pages of history. Born in St. Ann's Bay, Jamaica, in 1887, Garvey's early life was shaped by the stark realities of colonialism. He was a voracious reader, and his father's library became his sanctuary. It was here that he began to form his ideas about race, power, and identity. As a young man, he worked as a printer's apprentice, which exposed him to the world of journalism and political activism. This wasn't just a job, it was his training ground. He saw firsthand how information could shape public opinion and mobilize communities. His travels throughout Central and South America, and later to London, were eye-opening. He witnessed the poor working and living conditions of black people everywhere he went. It wasn't just a Jamaican problem. It was a global crisis. This realization ignited a fire within him. He was deeply influenced by the ideas of Booker T. Washington, who advocated for economic self-sufficiency for African Americans. Garvey took this concept and expanded it onto a global stage. He believed that economic independence was the foundation of true freedom and respect. In 1914, Garvey returned to Jamaica and founded the Universal Negro Improvement Association, or the UN. Its motto was powerful and direct: one God, one aim, one destiny. The goal was ambitious: to unite all people of African descent, uplift them through education and economic enterprise, and ultimately establish an independent black nation in Africa. Think about that for a second. At a time when colonialism was at its peak, here was a man not just asking for a seat at the table, but planning to build a whole new house. Just 2 years later, Garvey moved the UNES headquarters to Harlem, New York. This was a masterstroke. Harlem was the cultural and intellectual capital of Black America, buzzing with the energy of the Harlem Renaissance. Garvey's message of black pride and self-reliance resonated deeply. People were tired of being treated as second-class citizens. Garvey told them to be proud of their heritage, to see beauty in their blackness, and to believe in their own potential. He was a charismatic and powerful speaker, and his rallies drew massive crowds. He wasn't just giving speeches. He was building a nation of the mind. Through the UNEA, he launched several ventures. The most famous of these was the Black Star Line, a shipping company intended to facilitate trade among black communities worldwide and transport African Americans back to Africa. The very idea of a black-owned shipping line was revolutionary. It was a tangible symbol of black capability and ambition. The company sold shares to its members for $5 each. People from all walks of life, from poor sharecroppers to urban workers, invested their hard-earned money. It was more than an investment. It was a stake in their own future. The UNEA also operated businesses like the Negro Factories Corporation, which supported black-owned enterprises, including grocery stores, laundromats, and restaurants. They published the Negro World newspaper, which spread Garvey's message far and wide, reaching audiences in the Americas, Europe, and Africa. At its peak, the UNEA claimed to have millions of members in over 40 countries. This wasn't just a movement. It was a global empire of thought and action. Garvey was a master of pageantry. He organized elaborate parades with UNEA members dressed in military-style uniforms, creating a powerful visual of strength and organization. He declared himself the Provisional President of Africa, establishing a government in exile with a full cabinet. But Garvey's meteoric rise also attracted powerful enemies. His message of black nationalism was seen as a threat by colonial powers and by the US government. J. Edgar Hoover, who would later become the director of the FBI, considered Garvey a dangerous radical and made it his mission to bring him down. He used informants to infiltrate the Union, looking for any weakness. At the same time, Garvey also faced opposition from some prominent black leaders, like W.E.B. Du Bois of the NAACP. Du Bois disagreed with Garvey's separatist ideology and his Back to Africa plan, favoring integration instead. He viewed Garvey's grand titles and parades as pompous and his business plans as unrealistic. The pressure mounted, and the Black Star Line became the perfect target. The company was plagued by mismanagement, and some of the ships it purchased were in poor condition. Hoover's Bureau of Investigation saw its chance. In 1922, Garvey was arrested and charged with mail fraud related to the sale of stock. In the Black Star Line, the case was controversial. Many believed the charges were politically motivated, designed to neutralize a powerful black leader. Despite a questionable trial where Garvey, not a lawyer by trade, chose to represent himself, he was convicted in 1923 and sentenced to 5 years in prison. After serving nearly 3 years, his sentence was commuted by President Calvin Coolidge in 1927. But there was a catch. He was immediately deported back to Jamaica and barred from ever re-entering the United States. This was a devastating blow. Separated from the heart of his movement in Harlem, Garvey's influence in the US began to wane. He tried to continue his work from Jamaica and later from London, but he never regained the momentum he once had. He passed away in London in 1940, relatively obscure at the time of his death. So why is his story so important, and why is it often untold? Garvey's legacy is complex. His business ventures may have failed, but his ideas succeeded beyond his wildest dreams. He instilled a sense of pride and self-worth in millions of black people around the world. He was a pioneer of Pan-Africanism, the idea that people of African descent have a shared identity and destiny. His philosophy directly influenced countless future leaders and movements. The Nation of Islam, the Rastafarian movement, which venerates Garvey as a prophet, and leaders of African independence movements, like Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana, all drew inspiration from Garveyism. Even Martin Luther King Jr., who advocated for integration, acknowledged Garvey's impact, noting that he was the first man to give millions of black people a sense of somebody-ness. Marcus Garvey's story teaches us that history is never simple. He was a visionary, a showman, a brilliant organizer, and a flawed man. He dared to dream of a world where black people were masters of their own destiny. While his grandest plans never fully materialized, the seeds he planted grew into mighty trees. He forced the world to reckon with the power of black unity and pride, and his call for self-reliance and empowerment is just as relevant today as it was a century ago. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the untold story of Marcus Mosiah Garvey. If you found this story as fascinating as we did, please hit that like button. Subscribe to our channel for more deep dives into history, and share this video to help his story be told. We'll see you in the next one.